Hello, welcome to this video session on the Skill Connect program of the IEEE Hyderabad section. I am Ravi Shankar, Chair of Skill Development in the section. All of you students who are watching this program have one question on your mind: what is this program and how is it going to help me to acquire the skills that make me employable? We have been saying that this program is one that enhances your employability. Well, the answer is that the program develops competence or the ability to do in the people who are participating in this, and they will be able to apply the learning to be able to develop a clear deliverable. So this program therefore teaches you how to learn. That means wherever you go, you know how exactly to pick up what you need to do and how you need to work on that. It gives you the methodology, the skills, the architecture of learning. So what will happen is you will be able to change very easily after doing this program from one kind of an application to another kind of application, and a different problem whenever it is given, you will understand what is the delta that you need to acquire to be able to do it. So it's a very basic skill that you're going to acquire. Like, to be able to do a math problem or to be able to do statistics, you first need to know how to add and subtract, and you need to understand what are the statistical factors involved in that, and some very basics that you need to understand. Now you have learned the basics of the technology that is going to be used in this kind of a work. It is an assumption that we make that you already know the technology that is going to be used. However, if you need to understand the technology and learn the technology also, this program would cover that on a need base. So as you said, how do we actually acquire this skill? The best way to do this is to actually build a simple application and understand how this is being done. Naturally, the question arises here that in the wide variety of applications that are there, how is this whole variety going to be covered by this single program, which is only about 80 hours? How is it that we are going to learn how to be able to address all these programs? So except for some complexity, most of the applications are built in the same way. This is one fundamental truth that we need to understand. That means the basic frame is the same, whatever be the complexity or whatever be the kind of application you're going to build. So if we consider an IT application, and if we consider, let us say, IT is the scenario that we are going to address currently, then all web applications are, for example, similar and broadly will consist of the same set of things that you do, and they will all be built in the same way. Suppose you need to build a web application where you want to use the portal to sell books. So in this application, there will be fundamentally about 7 to 8 slices or 7 to 8 typical unique things that you would be doing. These would be a user interface for login, for example. Then you'll have an action handler. Then you will have a middle layer which incorporates the business logic, and then you will have a database. So all these are going to get connected and give you the bigger application. So fundamentally, these 7 to 8 slices are the ones which actually will help you build the entire application. So if you know how to address or execute these 7 or 8 slices, then you can execute any application barring some complex scenarios which are there. So as I said, typically a web application contains about 7 to 8 slices of work that repeat themselves again and again, and based on the specifics of the application, the number of times each slice repeats will be decided. So in some sense, each of these are what we can call as a pattern, that because you're doing the same kind of a scenario is there and the same solution is being used, they are typically patterns, and these is what we call as, we have about 7 to 8 patterns that we are using here. So what is a pattern typically? I mean, most of you students may not be very clear about this. So a pattern is a general repeatable solution to a commonly occurring problem. For example, if you take a user interface, what do you do in a user interface? You enter your login ID and password. Now the system that you are going to build will actually have to take this password, it will have to go to an interface or a common interface, or it will have to go to a controller as we call it, and then from there it actually gets redirected. It picks up the business logic saying that how the password has to be validated. How do I ensure that the person with this password is actually authorized to use the application. So this business logic is going to be picked up, and your user ID and password, these credentials, all these together will go to the database, and the logic that it takes with it will get executed, and it will be returned back again the same way. So these 7 to 8 slices, if you are able to build, then your fundamental problem of building an application is well understood. So now, using this method, we have called this approach as a pattern based learning. And in the pattern based learning, we teach you first what are the different patterns, and these patterns, when you execute, at the end of the session be able to assemble it into a simple application, and the impact of this is substantially high.